to us that some of the police officers in the back while they were setting up asked, "Are you still here? Are you still doing this?" Are we still doing this? So this is an audience participation. So feel free to clap and yell and make comments, whatever. So yeah, I'm Lydell Fleming, and I grew up here in Encinitas. I have a little bit of a different story than that of Dante. If you guys had a chance to listen to Dante over at the Kook, what an amazing speaker, by the way. Yeah. So my experience growing up here in Encinitas, as you can imagine, my school looked like this, pretty much just like this, with the exception of my daughter and her friends, because I was virtually the only, there was one other black guy there. And it was difficult. I didn't find my voice until about 3 weeks ago. So I was kind of complacent. Yeah, I was kind of complacent with the racism that I endured. I had to have friends reach out to me on Facebook and in private and on text messages telling me, "Do you remember when my mom said, 'Get that black guy out of my house'?" And I'm like, "No, I don't remember that." "Do you remember when such and such called you the N-word?" No, I was complacent. I wanted to fit in and not stir the pot, not be that guy. And until 3 weeks ago, that was me. Now I'm here speaking to you guys. So my whole point is instead of being deathly silent, I'm gonna have to turn up the decibels, because my decibels were so low and my voice was not heard. So you guys are in for it. So my story, growing up in Encinitas, I had no problems with cops. I never got beaten. I never got brutalized. I was never antagonized by them. When I was a teenager, I don't know how many of you guys grew up around here, but there was an officer by the name of Officer Cook. Anyone remember Officer Cook? No? Okay, well, guess that shows you what crowd I was hanging out with. But he used to always see us down at AMC Theater. And I had a good relationship with him. He would ask me, every time he saw me, he'd go, "Lydell, get in front of the car. I can catch you." I know, because I always told him, "You can't catch me. If I do something wrong, you wouldn't even be able to catch me." Not that I did anything wrong. I didn't. But nonetheless, that's the relationship I had with the cops around here. Like, I would get pulled over and not really, I mean, I was scared because they're cops. I knew what the cops were doing worldwide, nationwide, but they weren't doing it here. They weren't doing it to me. Now, that by no means that it's not happening elsewhere, and that we shouldn't speak up like we are now for the other places that it's happening, and we need to prevent it from ever happening here. I think that's the most important thing, is that we don't want that to happen here. Granted, we haven't had, to my knowledge, any racial discriminating cops that have done damage or harm to any African Americans. I'm guessing there's probably some that have happened with our Latino and Latina family members, because they're the ones, there were more of them. So we're both minorities. I was such a minority that I wasn't a threat. Seriously, I wasn't a threat. There wasn't enough of us to be a threat. But there was enough Hispanics, Latinas here to be a threat. So they took the brunt of that. I skated through. So thank you, all my brothers and sisters. A lighter shade of brown. Appreciate you guys. This is for you too. Because that's got to stop. I know that police brutality takes place all over our nation and in a lot of cities and counties, but it just didn't happen here. I got the attention of someone, and I just want to ask the gentleman back there in the black car, does my life matter to you? Put your fist up if my life matters to you. Mr. Officer, I'm talking to you, sir. Please put your fist up. No.
Wow.
Officer, can you hear me? Can you put your fist up if my life matters to you?
Louder!
No? Oh, I know you can hear me. All right. Well, does my laugh matter to?
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you. When we were here last week, I said the same thing, and we did get one of the cops back there, one of the police officers to raise a fist. So I grew up here. I have a white dad, which you probably wouldn't think I do, but I do. He isn't my birth dad, but he was there when I was born. So that's the only dad that I know. It's the only dad that I need to know. And he told me when I was little, he said, listen, if you have any issues growing up and you have anyone that gives you a hard time because of your color, your race, come to me because I have some experience. What his experience was is meeting my mother in Jackson, Mississippi in the mid-60s. Yeah, my mother is as dark as I am. And for those of you who are old enough to know what was going on in Jackson, Mississippi in the 60s, there was a lot of racist. It's still bad down there. It's still bad down. Now I'm scared when I go down there when I see the cops. I'm scared. I know better. But he told me, look, if you ever have any issues, you come to me and I will help you out. And I never had to do that. I'm very privileged in that way. I never had to do that. But again, I'm here to say that we need to stop this nationwide. We need police reform. We also need to vote because that's how we're going to get change. Everyone here needs to vote. And when they say vote and vote often, they're not saying vote for the same candidate more than one time. They're saying through every time there's a vote that comes up, whether it's presidential or for a mayor or governor, vote. Vote. We got to get the right people in there. We have to get the right people in there. So I was hoping that my daughter would come up and say a few words. Maybe we can convince her. She has her own voice. This is my daughter, Mila Fleming.
Hi, my name is Mila. I just graduated class of 2020 from San Diego. Thank you. My speech isn't as long as my dad's, but basically my time in high school was pretty hard. I had a really hard time speaking up about racial problems that went on in my school, and the only time I did, I posted it on social media. And in return, I got a lot of racially inappropriate pictures and comments, and I was called a lot of racial slurs. And after that, I never spoke again. And until now, so now that I'm here and I have a voice and so many people are able to listen to me now and, respect my voice, I just wanted to say to any other Black teens over here who live in this area, you're not alone and you have so much more support now. And if you want, you can come up here if that's possible and talk about what you've been through. And I really appreciate the fact that I even got to stand up here and talk about this, because it's been like a year since I've been able to speak my mind, and it feels so good to be able to not be scared.
So I wanted to add, I need you here because I need to say this with you. When Mila says that she didn't have a voice, she means that literally. Like she didn't have a voice even at home. Like she would come home and tell us about these issues, and we would, I'm telling her, don't do what I did. Don't stay silent. You got to speak up. You got to say something. But I didn't speak up enough for her, I don't think. And I recently told her that I'm sorry, and I'm telling you that again. I'm sorry that I didn't speak up loud enough or louder for you. And up until about 10 minutes ago, before I took the mic, we weren't sure if this one was even going to come up here. So, huge round of applause for her, because this, trust me, it's not easy. I am so extremely proud of her for going through what she's gone through, and even more proud of her for her voice today and forever. So, from the Flemings, thank you guys.
One more thing for any, again, black teens around here. I lost all of my friends after I posted that. After I talked about what I went through, I lost all of them. And it's okay to lose friends because they're made to be not your friends, obviously. If they don't respect you because you are not treated equally, then they should not be in your life. You have so much, there's so many more people. Even if you feel alone, you feel like nobody else is going to be there for you. After what happened, like with George Floyd, so many people have shown their true colors in positive ways and negative ways, and I'm sure that you'll find new people.
What she said.